DoubleTake Diaries. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another episode of Double Take Diaries. You already know who it is. It's Sinz. Yeah. And I'm so honored. It's such a pleasure and a blessing to be back here with y'all on, the couch. You feel me? Now, there's been a lot going on out here. And there's been a lot that, we haven't had the chance to discuss. So I want to take this opportunity to catch up on a couple things with you. We're going to first start off with a huge round of applause to Tory Lanez for his new album, Masterpiece. Masterpiece. Album is titled Peterson. Y'all put your hands together for Tory Lanez. Come on. Come on. Yes, put your hands together for that man. I don't know how anybody else would be able to deal with the situation that he's dealing with right now and be able to even want to record music. I think it's truly a blessing. It's miraculous to know that even though he's going through what he's going through, he still found like the will, he still has the passion to want to pursue music, to want to create, even from a jail cell. So honestly, I'm extremely proud of Tory. Especially, of course, he's Canadian. He's from Toronto. He's one of our own. And I think he's always been who he says he is. I mean, he's always stood 10 toes down on who he is. Now, you may have liked him, you may have fucked with him, or you may not have. Some people think he's too egotistical. Some people think, you know what I mean? He's a bit too hood. He's a bit too street. But he is who he is. And he's a sum total of his life experiences. You feel me? So everybody knows the whole debacle between Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, where it was alleged that Tory had shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot. There was a lot going on surrounding that. Happened back in 2020. Is where the alleged shooting took place. She claimed that Tory was the gunman who shot her in the foot. And it was following a pool party that they had at Kylie Jenner's house. It's crazy to think that a nigga could go to jail for slanging a dick. Because clearly this man was fucking on Megan, Kylie, Megan's best friend. And according to his album, and according to White Lightning and Nine Side, Iggy Azalea. So it's like, Tory clearly was outside with it. Like, and it looks like Megan Thee Stallion just didn't take the fact that he was messing with her best friend and Kylie. She didn't take it very well. Her and Rock Nation power together to lock this innocent dude up. I mean, it's what it is. Everybody has their opinions on what happened. She really ran with the protect black women narrative, which I think is so important. Black women need to be protected. But I think the fact that she lied on a black man's name, you know what I mean? Because she had a powerful black man behind her in Jay-Z and Rock Nation to help bring Tory Lanez down, to help lock him up, knowing that he's a father, knowing that he has a son, over some really some fuck shit. Really is what it come down to. Really some fuck shit. So Daystar Peterson, who is the rapper known as Tory Lanez, he was arrested and charged for carrying a concealed weapon in his vehicle. But he was not actually charged for shooting Megan. So it's like this weird thing where she really didn't even get shot in the foot. They found a bullet fragment. So it's like a scratch. It's like if you got a scratch. So there was that whole debacle back in 2020 at the pool party. There's been a lot that has happened since then. even though Tory's been locked up, been in jail. Let's see how many years he's been in jail. So he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for the shooting. He was convicted in 2022. So it looks like Tory's been in jail for about 3 years now, 4 years now. And they moved him to the LA County jail. So he's in real prison. Like, he is in real jail. Not like where they keep a lot of these famous people. He's in general population. And it really, it's crazy to think that he's really in jail. And on this episode, I wanted to get into Tory's new album. I really wanted to get into his new album because I've been sitting with it the last few days and really listening to it and really listening to his story and really listening to, the things that have been happening to him and really listening to, like, how prison has impacted him and the things he's doing to survive prison, and really listening to, like, how crooked Megan Thee Stallion and her lawyers and Rock Nation are, and so the album, which is titled Peterson, which is his last name, to me it's a contender. To me, it's a contender with Chromacopia. It's a contender with GNX. Absolutely. If we're talking about real rap albums, this to me definitely can go toe to toe with those albums I mentioned. The fact that Tory, on Guide Me Through the Storm, and there's several songs where he outright expresses his love for Iggy Azalea. This is something that, I don't know, maybe I'm living under a rock. I had no idea that him and Iggy, were like that. I mean, not just like a girl that he was fucking with, but like a girl that he really cares for. He's expressed the love that he has for Iggy, and how Iggy, after him only being in jail for a few months, how Iggy started sleeping with a close friend of his. And he talks heavily about the dynamic of having to deal with those emotions of losing someone that you truly love deeply, that you confided in, you know what I mean, that you share a deep level of intimacy with, to someone that was one of your homies, right? And then being locked up in jail behind some crazy shit. On top of that, it's like him expressing like, loving her ear and loving her, having conversations with her, and the fact that, he loves how she wrapped around his body. I won't lie, I'm bewildered by the whole Iggy Azalea and Tory Lanez thing. I had no idea that he had felt this way about her. But, from expressing his love about Iggy all over the album, like, he dedicated a song to her called White Lightning. He speaks about, their relationship on Nine Side, and Amethyst. He refers to Iggy as Amethyst, which to me, it was like, damn, like, he really cares about this girl. And I don't know what you think. Like, let me know in the comments if y'all knew that Iggy and Tory was close like that. But just referring to her as a precious stone, you understand, like a precious, like something that is precious, like, I think was crazy. Like, he really has love for this girl. The album is a complete banger. I really wanted to do a reaction, but YouTube be hating on a nigga. So I'm not trying to play anything to get copyrighted on. But I just wanted to give, like, my brief take on, Peterson. And I think it's a phenomenal album. I love the fact that we're getting some of those chicks tape vibes on this album. Like, we're still hearing him say, like, he sampled SWV on a record that, and he had like sort of a Drake sample on another record. I love the switches in each record. I love the fact that he had Max Bigavell You know what I mean? He had Max B on an interlude. Mawa. I thought that was crazy. It was unexpected because I don't know, like I said, I don't know if I'm living under a rock. I never knew Tory and Max had a rapport on any level, but Max just expressing his love for Tory and expressing, he might get out before him, however it works, that they should link up, that he got to beg for him. Like it was like hearing Tory talk about the experience, about you know being in jail and 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 seeing certain things, like a nigga getting stabbed 40 times and looking into his eyes and saying it's over for you. Like there's just so much, there's so much he's talking about on this album, recording an album from prison, and how revolutionary that is. Because it is, like, could you imagine what it would be like to be recording your verses over a phone in prison with all that chaos going on around you? Like, and he speaks of this at the end of the Max B interlude featuring Lunch Tray. Just the free Tory at the end. They're chanting free Tory at the end. I love the fact that I love the fact, just going back to Guide Me Through the Storm, like, this record to me is damn near like a Christian record. It's damn near it's a gospel record to me. You know what I mean? Like, him just speaking on the fact that he's dealing with a love that's lost in Iggy Azalea. He spoke on the fact that she's one in a million. He speaks on Young Dave, who produced the album. He produced it from the county hospital in the ER in critical condition. He talks about the fact that that they beat the odds, not becoming another statistic, right? Being able to create this masterful body of work, dealing with the circumstances that they're dealing with. Him being in prison, for something he didn't do. His producer being in critical condition in the ER, in the county hospital, producing this album from there. I think to me, it's insane. He really speaks about Satan trying to devour his soul. He speaks about an industry full of witches and warlocks, and the dark side of the industry, and how he speaks about how demonic it is. He speaks about how demonic the powers that were working against him and the forces that were working against him truly really are. But he also declares God's hand in his journey and in his testimony. He also is standing 10 toes down on what happened to him, and recognizes that God is bringing him through this for a reason, and how this is going to help to amplify who he is as a man who believes in God. You know what I mean? Hearing his father preach and speak of Tory's testimony at the end, of Guide Me Through the Storm, it was chilling. Like, hearing him say, Daystar, my beautiful son, as your father, I was distraught the day when they took my innocent son to prison. And for 2 weeks straight, every day that the sun have risen, I felt like I had a 20-pound weight sitting on my chest. Still, I knew that God had allowed this test, that it was not just about you, but also about the others, right? Speaking of the other young black boys and girls who are incarcerated. He says, the many other incarcerated sisters and brothers, that's when I gave you to God, knowing that he would keep you covered. And in the realm of the spirit, that's where I hovered like an angel in flight, a samurai, proud warrior against the witches and warlocks, pulling down strongholds of witchcraft, divination, necromancy, familiar spirits, clairvoyant projections, psychic phenomenon that war to keep the souls of men and women created in God's own image in bondage and away from their families, in a bid to create the next generation of pissed off children angry at a system, just so Satan could keep the hungry prison industrial complex fed, to the tune of $82,000 per head. Like, his father, you know what I mean, is really talking about a system that is so divisive and so demonic that only Satan could be behind. The dark energy and the devouring of young black people and young black souls, and understanding that the prison industrial complex, how much, like when he says $82,000 per head per inmate, it's big business. Like if you know, you know, but it's big business to lock black and brown people up in jail. Like it's big business. Like $82,000 a head. Like this record, Guide Me Through the Storm, was really a declaration of God working through Tory and through his family, but also not being blind to what they're up against. You know what I mean? But standing in faith and staying rooted in their faith, I think is so important. Like it's so important to hear someone like Tory say that. It's so important to see the bond between a black father and a son in such a fashion. I seen a video come up where it was of Tory's dad, and he was talking about the fact that him and Tory have forgiven Megan Thee Stallion. And I thought that was so powerful. While Megan Thee Stallion and Rock Nation are out here trying to really push this narrative of Tory being a murderer, of Tory being violent toward black women, of Tory being a gang member, of Tory being all these things, his father is speaking on the fact that they have forgiven her. And they've forgiven Rock Nation and Jay-Z for what they're experiencing, for what they're going through, for their pain that they're experiencing, for the loss that they're experiencing. Like this album, Peterson, was, and I've really been sitting with it, and I will continue to sit with it. But I think there's so much about this body of work that makes it a masterpiece. It's the circumstances surrounding the album. A man going to jail for gun possession, getting 10 years for gun possession. When there was proof, like his bodyguard was the one that was carrying arms, right? Tory spoke on the fact that really it was Meg's homegirl. It was her best friend that shot her for real. That shot the gun. It was them keeping the DNA evidence out of the trial and still locking this man up for 10 years, taking him away from his son, from his family. But it was the fact that Tory is resilient enough and has such a strong faith and clearly strong family, strong unit behind him, that is declaring his freedom in 2025. That is declaring the amplification of his energy, of his brand, of his image. That is declaring that God is the force behind what's really going on. Guide Me Through the Storm was really a standout record for me. The choir at the end. This is gospel music for me. I don't care what nobody say. A powerful testimony and declaration of Tory's freedom by his father at the end of that record. And hearing Tory speak about all the people that switched on him, but him also understanding how what he's going through is only going to amplify his brand and his image. Because sadly enough, the culture is extremely toxic at the same time. So him going to jail and really coming out, like, it's only going to amplify his brand. It's only going to make him bigger. It's going to make him larger than life. And he's not wrong about that. But him seeing it for what it is, you know what I mean? See, already saying, like, a lot of you niggas who wasn't fucking with me, you about to spin the block once I come home. And him being like, don't even do it. I'm on a different type of time. I think to me, this is truly a beautiful rap record. Like it every time I listen to certain songs and I really hear him speak on his story and his experience, it's like, wow, like a lot of people would fold in his position. But seeing the fact that this nigga is able to find strength through what he's going through his circumstances, and then find the passion enough to want to put that on wax, I think it speaks volumes. White Lightning again, like really speaking on his love for Iggy Azalea, which is mind blowing to me. So the album has 20 tracks. Um, I think Sailor Moon is it? Yeah, Sailor Moon. Um, was another one of those records where he talks about Iggy cheated on him with his mans, really loving her, really declaring his love for her. Like he was gonna buy her a condo on the beach in Miami. Like the hook declaring, like, how could you let another nigga get what's mine? Um, this record to me had a very Chicks Tape vibe to me. Um, Verdict Day was another one of those records where it's like where Tory goes into detail about how things really unfolded, how things really happened. But him introing that record with Tupac and Tupac speaking on when they was trying to pin that murder charge on him, or that not that murder charge, that rape charge on him, like him speaking about all the powers behind that were trying to make him guilty for something he just didn't do. And so having Tupac intro, Verdict Day and Lawyer Fees interlude is crazy. Um, him being charged $900,000 in lawyer fees, or his lawyers like, you could sit in prison. Either you pay me that or you're fucked. Him not really having the money for that, but Chris Brown shooting him some bail, him expressing like his love for Chris Brown and how they're homies. Like let's clap it up for Chris fucking Brown. I feel like Chris and Tory kind of, not that they went through similar situations, but they kind of have similar experiences where in the public eye, people try to demonize them. But Chris is taking the time to step into Tory's situation and support him whenever people turned his back on him. Tory speaks about going to his industry homies and for help, and everybody turning their back on him. Everybody, you know what I mean, really going airplane mode on that nigga. Like, and Chris Brown really, really being there for him, and he declares it at the end of the album on Free Tory. You know what I mean? Overall, phenomenal fucking album. Track 16, he fucked a lady cop. Just understanding hearing one of the female COs saying like, yo, where's the songs for the female COs? And him taking that moment to really, make that record for them. And if we know Tory fucked on a female CO, we know it. We know what happened. Phone Sex was a banger / FaceTime. That was one where he sampled, what did he he sampled a record on here. I'm trying to see what the sample is. Let me see here. I feel like it's an SWV record that he sampled. Anyway, it was another one of those records that had that Chicks Tape vibe to me. I think he's always been masterful at sampling like records that are nostalgic. Y'all heard Chicks Tape 5. Overall, Peterson is definitely a contender for Rap Album of the Year at the Grammys. I personally think that. For so many reasons. Tory really wore his heart on his sleeve, and he really rapping, like he really spit. And I think Tory often gets overlooked when we talking about one of the illest to ever do it, one of the illest rappers of all time to ever do it. Tory's really one of them ones, like, and it really shows on this album. Being able to express himself emotionally the way that he has, and then still give you these crazy metaphors, still really bar up on you, but still really give you that hard shit. Like, it was masterful. It was a masterful record, man. I'm screaming free Tory until Tory is free. I don't care how nobody out here feel about it. He really one of them ones. Tory was able to do, I think, what Drake has failed to do, and that's evolve what it is people love him for. Obviously, his circumstances were a bit different. But Tory's definitely one of them ones, and it's free Tory all day long, man. I encourage each and every one of you to go check out Peterson. With that being said, you already know who it is. It's Sinz. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Double Take Diaries, man. And we